Hi everybody, it's Derek with Ada Community Library, and welcome back to week 6 of our Kids Who Code program. And we are picking up where we left off last week with a Scratch project, a game. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Now, if you haven't already, go ahead and head over to the Scratch website and log into your account. And we'll get started. Okay, so real quickly, we're picking up where we left off. We're doing a project that's incorporating concepts that we learned in the Learn to Code and Change the World book put out by the Girls Who Code organization. And in chapter 3 is where we're pulling from. And last week we learned some new vocabulary words and computer coding concepts, things like algorithms and pseudocode and functions. And so we started to apply those in our project already, and we'll continue on this week. And we're also going to incorporate a couple more coding blocks within the Scratch interface. The My Blocks is one. Clone block is another, and broadcast block. So we'll see how those work with our interactive game. Okay, so back over to the Scratch website again, scratch.mit.edu. And if you haven't done last week's project, I would recommend going back and doing that before you start on today's. Otherwise, there's quite a bit that you've won't have as we're picking up where we left off. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and head over to where we are on our project myself here. And if you can just bear with me a moment. And then just to recap, last week we started this it's kind of like a platform game, an old 80s game, in which Scratchy the cat here is catching some things falling out of the sky. So last week we coded it so that Scratchy put out kind of a little explanation of what's happening with fish predicted to be falling from the sky and rocks and so on. And then we actually had that happen here with our code. So we'll go ahead and go back in now and pick up where we left off. And last week we coded Scratchy here on the stage, and we had code for Scratchy's dialogue, the little word bubbles you saw there, some code for the left and right arrows on your actual keyboard on your computer to control Scratchy and moving Scratchy from left to right. Okay, and then if we click down here on the shark or fish sprite, we also started coding the fish to be falling from the sky. So just a quick refresh on that one. Over here on the coding buttons, if you click on the My Blocks, we created a new block by clicking over here on the Make a Block button. Okay, and then we created the Fall from Sky block here, which is actually a function that has these steps attached to it. Okay, so all of this code here is what this block will do when we use it in our project. Alright, and then one other thing, these little yellow sticky note looking things are notes that we can create by right-clicking on our blocks and then choosing the Add Comment option there from the little menu. Okay, and this one kind of popped off of the side here. And this is where you can type in notes, that is also known as pseudocode, which is basically just human notes about what's going on with the program. Okay, and I'm going to zoom in here a little bit because it looks like it's kind of hard to see. Okay, so right here this note says what the function is doing, the Fall from Sky block. The shark falls from top to the bottom of the screen. And then this one here we attach to the blue block here with the go to X and Y positions. Shark goes to random spot in the sky. Okay, that's what that block is doing. So again, these notes are just for you or for whoever's coding to know what these blocks are supposed to be doing. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get back into the code. And what we're going to do now is we need to code that fish so that the fish won't just fall down from the sky once and be done for the day. It will continuously be falling from the sky, like just in the example I showed you. And we want that to happen over and over again. But we don't have to want to create just lines and lines, blocks of code. We want to be able to reuse some of that code. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple methods we can use for that. So the first one here is the fall from sky from the myBlocks function, and that's going to have the fish doing his random positions and falling from top to bottom. Now there are two other types of blocks of code that we can use to help this work even better. So the first one we're going to look at is the clone block, okay? And what the clone block does is it will keep creating another fish each time this block of code is run. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to just leave our project where it is, and I'm going to go over here to a new file, if you will, just to do a quick example of how the clone code works. Okay, so here we have Scratchy on the stage. It can be any kind of sprite. And if we go over here to the control button and we scroll down, we can see that there is a create clone of myself block. Okay, so if you bring that over to the stage and click on it, just click on it once or twice, and then click on Scratchy over here, and you should have a clone or a duplicate. Okay, so this is a feature that we're going to be using for our game. All right, so let's go ahead and I need to clear off those scratchies here, so let's do that real quick first. I'm going to put a green flag on here and delete the clones. There we go. Okay, and then you can just drag this and get rid of it. Okay, so for our example here, we're going to go ahead and grab another when the green flag is clicked block and put it on top there, so that when the green flag here is clicked and the program starts to run, there will be a clone created of Scratchy. Okay, and if we want to have multiple clones, what we can do is do a repeat block, which is down here under the control blocks. Okay, so we can choose repeat, and right now it's on 10. And what we can do is we can type in a different number. I'm going to type in a lower number, so about 5 I think we'll do. Okay, so now if you click on the green flag one time, you should have 5 scratchies appear here. All right, so let's see. Oh, here I've got this out of order. The create clone block needs to go inside here to repeat 5 times. Sorry about that. And so let's go ahead and click that. And then go ahead and click on Scratchy, and you should have those 5 clones happen there, okay? So what I'm going to do is click stop to have Scratchy go away. And then what we want to do is, the clone feature is cool, but if it's just creating clones one on top of another, it kind of defeats the purpose because we can't really see the clones, right? So let's go ahead and let's get a little bit more random placement of those clones when they happen with that code. So for that, we can go ahead and grab a couple blocks here, scroll down and grab a when I start as a clone, and then we're going to go to the looks button there, and we're going to choose show. All right. Excuse me. And then we're going to go up here to motion, and we're going to choose the go to X and Y position block here, okay? I'm going to put that there. All right, so right now it says go to X, and then there's a number in there, -20. And, oops, I'm sorry, I just realized my screen could be a little bit bigger to see what's going on. So let me go ahead and stretch that out a little bit more for you. Okay. All right, so right now, the blue block here, go to X and Y position, is showing specific numbers, -20 and -43 on that imaginary X and Y axis, okay, that are going vertical and horizontal across the stage here. So again, the clones are going to just be dropped into the same spot every time. So let's go ahead and go to the green operators button over here. And we're going to choose this pick random block. We're going to drop it right in there where the number 20 is, okay? See how we did that? And now it has a pick random number, any number between 1 and 10 is what it's set to right now. And we're going to grab one more block and we're going to drop it in over here next to the Y. Okay? So now, when the clone starts, it's going to be, those clones are going to be placed in random positions, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and click the green flag, and voila, there we are. We have some random scratchies there, and they're still kind of on top of each other, okay? So what you can do is you can play around with these numbers in here. For example, you could put a minus number in there, -100, and you could put a +100 there. So minus and plus 100 on the X axis, and then the same here. You could change these numbers around, maybe I don't know, 50, and let's say let's do a negative number, -100, okay, and then we can run that and see what happens. So let's go ahead and hit stop and go, and there we go. Okay, so now every time you hit that green flag and run your code, you're going to get that cloning happen. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and plug that into our project here. So let's go ahead, and you can save this example on your Scratch account or get rid of it. It's totally up to you. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this tab on the top of my screen and go back over to our project, okay? All right, so what we're going to want to do is get that clone coding going in here. Okay, and what we're going to want to do is click on the blue shark sprite there. Make sure we're coding the right sprite. And if these little sticky notes get in the way, you can just click on this little arrow up in the left corner and just kind of minimize those, all right? You can leave them, remove them as you see fit, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and go back down to control, and then we're going to look for the clone blocks here. So we have when I start as a clone. Now, I'd say we want a little bit of pause before he comes on, so we can go to a wait block. Oops, it's going to be under control as well. And we're going to have a slight delay before the fish appears on the stage. So we're going to click over here to the looks, and we're going to grab a show and a hide block here. So when I start as a clone, he's going to be not appearing, not visible, and there's going to be a pause, and then he's going to appear, okay? And it's just, this is more of a style kind of thing. You don't have to necessarily do it this way, but it's just more of the effect and how the game looks when you start it, okay? All right, so let's see. Next, after he shows up, we're going to want to go back over here to the My Blocks button, and we're going to grab one of those Fall from Sky blocks. And again, this is the one that has that code that we created earlier, Fall from the Sky up here. So this block is going to run, and it's going to run everything that's in here, okay? All right, and let's see here. So let's go ahead and click on green flag and just to see how things are working so far before we add a little bit more code. Okay, so far we're not seeing the fish at all, so we need to get a little bit more code here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm clicking and dragging here on the screen, and I can move the blocks around to get to focus on what I need to and get things out of the way. It doesn't matter where these blocks are as far as like these different groups of blocks. They can be in different positions and they'll still run the same way, okay? You can also use this magnifying glass down here if you want to zoom in more to see what you're doing, okay? Okay, so now what we're going to do is grab a create clone of myself block here. Okay, and right now it's a create a clone of myself. Okay, so we're going to leave it on that. And then we're going to grab another block, which is delete this clone. Okay. So if we click on this now, let's see if we see anything happen. Okay, so there's our fish, and you see how the fish is falling. He's hidden and he appears. There's a brief pause, then he falls from the sky. He does this function up here. Okay, and then once he gets to the bottom, he deletes. He disappears. Okay, oops. Click on that. Click on this code again, and you can see it happen here. Okay. All right, so it's getting there. All right, so let's see. What do we need to do next here? Okay, so the next one we're going to do is we want to think about the game when it starts. First, Scratchy is talking for a little bit, right? And we don't want the fish to start falling right away. So go ahead and click on the Scratchy sprite over here. And we're going to add a little bit of code here. And what's going to happen is we're going to add a little bit of code so that Scratchy will tell the fish when it's time for the fish to appear. Okay, and we're going to do that by using the broadcast block. Okay, now before I put it in here, just so you understand what's happening with the broadcast block, I'm going to go over here and do a short example of that. So again, you can leave this up and you can go to File and New, and we're going to create a brand new project and just do a quick example here of how the broadcast works. Okay. All right, so in our broadcast example, we have Scratchy, and then we need another sprite for Scratchy to interact with, just like in our game. We have Scratchy and we have the fish. So if you go down to choose a sprite down there in the corner, and you can choose whatever you want. It can be a person or a thing or an animal. I'm going to just choose an apple. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of coding here. So go ahead and click on the Scratchy sprite down here in the corner first. And then we're going to go ahead and go over here to the buttons and go to the events button and drag a when the green flag is clicked block. Okay, and let me just scoot up here a little bit. All right, and then we're going to grab the broadcast block. Okay, and the broadcast block is actually right down here in events 2. So let's see, there's 2 broadcast blocks. We want the first one, broadcast, and it says message 1. Okay. All right, and again, what this means is this means that Scratchy on stage here is going to give the Apple some instructions here in a minute. So go ahead and click on message 1, and right now the default is message 1 broadcast, and we want to create a new message name. So it doesn't matter what the name is; it can be anything under the sun. But I'd say put some kind of message name in there that helps you remember what it's for. Okay, so I'm going to type in magically appear. Okay, because that's what we're going for. Is we want that apple to be not on the stage and then appear on the stage. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. All right, and then after you do that, go ahead and click on the apple sprite down here. And then we're going to code the apple sprite with another events block. And we're going to go to the looks button and grab a hide block. Okay. And then we're going to go back down here to events, and then we're going to grab a when I receive block. Okay, so the when I receive block correlates or is directly related to the broadcast block. Okay, so the Scratchy here on the stage is going to do a broadcast, and then the Apple here is going to get some orders to do something with whatever kind of code we put here. So when I receive magically appear, we're going to grab another purple looks block. We're going to grab the show. Okay. All right. So we're going to click the flag. All right. Now, right now I'm clicking the flag, and it's happening so fast that it doesn't look like anything has changed. So let's put a little bit of delay here. Let's see. Okay, so what we're going to do is make sure you have Scratchy selected down here. And let's put a little delay in here. We'll go to the control button. We'll grab a wait 1 second block there, and you can change this time. I'm going to change it to 5 seconds. Okay, so wait 5 seconds, and then broadcast magically appear, and then click the green flag. So the apple hides, 5 seconds, and the apple appears. Okay. All right. So this is what we're going for in our game. We want that fish to be hidden and then appear. All right. So go ahead, and if you want to save this, you can. You can name it, and it'll be saved to your Scratch account. If not, we're going to go head back over and apply this broadcast block now in our program. Okay. So we put broadcast here. And sky is falling, okay, right after Scratchy gives us her opening lines at the beginning with this about the weather report and so on. Okay, so after Scratchy talks, the broadcast sky falling is going to block of code is going to run, and then we want to click on the fish over here, and then we want to let's see here. We want to grab a when I start as clone. We have that. Let's see. Okay, so we want to grab a when I receive block of code. Okay, and that's actually appear in events. Okay, so when I receive sky is falling, we're going to want to click on looks and show. Okay, and then we're going to want the fish to fall from the sky, so we're going to grab that. Okay, and then that means that this code up here is going to run, and then we want the fish to hide again, so we're going to click on looks and be gone from sight. Okay. All right, and now what we want to do is we want there to be a pause, and then we want the whole cycle to start again with another fish. Okay, so go ahead and go to control, and we're going to have a slight pause, wait a couple seconds, and then we're going to do the create a clone of myself block here. Okay. All right, and let's go ahead and run that code and see how it works here. So the Scratchy's talking, the fish is hidden. Okay, and then there's the fish. The fish appeared and fell. Okay, and there's the fish appearing and falling and then disappearing again. Okay, so our code is working. And right now the fish is kind of falling from the same spot every time. That is a little bit of random placement there, but it's kind of always here on the left. So if you want it to be more, you know, all over the place, and what we'll want to do is go down here to the fish sprite, and then go to our fall from sky block, and change some of this code in here where the random blocks are. Okay. So you can play with those numbers if you want and change it up a bit. There's the X position here, and then right now the Y position is always going to be the same. So you could change that number, try that out, see if maybe that's gets your fish to be a little bit more random where he's falling. So all right, so let's see here. What else do we need to do? We've got the Scratchy and the broadcast block going. We have the clone function going, or the clone block going. There's a function running in there, the fall from the sky function, and I think that has our game going. So from here, it's kind of up to you if you want to add more objects falling from the sky, you know, balloons, bricks, other animals, people, whatever, you name it. It's up to you. You can basically just choose more sprites and add those in there and make the game a little bit more challenging. Okay. Another thing you could do is you could add sounds. You could go in here to the sound blocks, and you know, you could create add some sound effects in there. Okay. So every time Scratchy is bumped by one of those, you get a little sound effect. You could also do some music. That'd be some way to make it more interesting and more interactive and exciting. Have some sound effects and music in there. Another option is you could put a scoreboard on there. If you go to the variables here, you could create a variable and create a score here. And I think we did this in one of our other projects. Okay, so basically you would do something like this, and then maybe you could code it so that every time Scratchy catches the fish, your score increases by 1, that kind of thing. Okay, so that's the bare essentials for the project, and there's a lot more you can do to add more flair to it and make it more interesting and challenging. Scoreboard, music, more things falling from the sky, and so on. Okay, so I think we'll call it a day for this project. We kind of covered a lot of ground, and I think it's a good place to end and let you take that in and apply it and build on it. So we'll go ahead and clear out of this, and let me just go dark there for a minute, and we'll go back to our classroom, our virtual classroom here. Alrighty. Okay, so next week we will be back with a new project, and it'll be the same time. There'll be a video posted on Thursday by 6:30 p.m., October 15th. If you want to do previous projects, you can see here on the screen down in the bottom right corner, there are some, there's a YouTube link here to our channel. Okay, so anyways, I hope you enjoyed that, and it made some type of sense. If it didn't all work for you or make sense, I'd say just take a break and come back to it later. You know, it's kind of the way it goes with coding. There's always troubleshooting. So if troubleshooting is not your cup of tea, then you know it comes with the territory. Just to warn you. So all right, well, thanks so much for joining us, and we will catch you next time. Have a great rest of your week. All right, take care.